Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide on ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let me bring in Suresh Surana, who's going to answer all of the questions on tax. Suresh, thank you for joining us on the show. Our first question comes in from George Samuel. He's a senior citizen who's just moved back to India after 20 years overseas. He has a couple of questions about the tax treatment of his investments. He wants to know if his NRE deposits will continue to remain NRE deposits until maturity. He also wants to understand how he and his wife can split up the taxes between them so they can take advantage of that 2.5 lakh rupee, the cut that they both get. As far as his fixed deposits are concerned, he wants to know if he takes a loan against that fixed deposit, can he offset the interest against the interest of the FD? Now, given all of his questions and the fact that he's a senior citizen, can you give him a plan that he can use?
Yes, Mr. George, I think there are several questions. Let me start one by one. The first question is that whether as a person who was non-resident Indian earlier and was returned to India, are you liable to file the tax returns? So there is no specific exemption for non-resident Indians who come back to India. So if your income exceeds the taxable income, which will be 2.5 lakhs rupees if you are a senior citizen, you are liable to file the income tax return. However, if you have been non-resident for 9 years before coming to India, and then for next 2 years, you will still continue to have a status which is called resident but not ordinarily resident, which means your income earned outside India will not be subject to tax during those 2 years. So the only taxable income will be income earned in India during the 2 years immediately after you come back to India. Thereafter, your worldwide income will become subject to tax. The second question you are having is that the NRE deposits, once they mature, you cannot really renew. It will have to be converted into rupee deposit, or there are rupee denominated which you can convert back later on into exchange, but it has to be rupee denominated, and the interest on that will be taxable. The third thing is that in case you are in case of husband and wife in India, here there is no concept of joint filing of return like in the US. So here each of you will be filing separate return of income. Each of you will be eligible for the deduction of rupees 2.5 lakhs or the basic exemption limit of 2.5 lakhs rupees. And you can also claim ATC deduction, etc., whatever. So each of you will be treated as a separate SSE. Your next question is that if you restrict your income to 2.5 lakhs from bank deposits and you have the remaining investment in mutual funds or shares which are sold after 12 months, and which are sold through stock exchange, so in which case it is exempt from tax, whether you are required to file the return of income. So the answer is no. If you have income only up to 2.5 lakh rupees on bank deposit and remaining is either the long-term capital gain which is exempted or dividend income, then you are not required to file the return of income.
Our next question comes in from Shirish, who tells us his son has taken an education loan and begun repaying it. Now this year he's paid back about 97,000 rupees towards both interest and the principal on the loan. He wants to know if his son can now use this money to get that benefit under Section 88. Suresh.
Yeah, Mr. Shirish, first of all, it is not Section 88, it is Section 80E, which deals with the interest paid on educational loans. The second point is that the principal amount is not eligible for deduction. The interest amount is eligible for deduction, and I mean that it can be claimed as a deduction to the extent of whatever interest paid during the year.
Well, last question is from Rajiv, who writes in from Dubai, who opened a demat account from his NRE account. He wants to know if he trades in shares, Suresh, will he have to pay capital gains tax?
Yes, Mr. Rajiv. The short-term capital gain, that means whatever shares you are buying and selling within 12 months will be subjected to tax. If you sell it through stock exchange, then the tax rate is 15%. If you sell it off market, then it will be the normal rate of tax, which could go up to 30%. So that is a tax liability for you.
All right, we've run out of time. Suresh, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you.
Remember, if you have any question about your money, saving, spending or investing, write to us. We'll be glad to answer it on the show. And of course, if you're a woman, we'll give you special pride of place. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Thanks for watching Investors Guide.